Hello, welcome to Code with Secho. My name is Secho Fianusetor, a software developer or a software engineer. I specialize in mobile app development and back-end development. On this episode of Code with Secho, we will be discussing the Flutter architecture. In our previous episode, we discussed the Flutter ecosystem. This talks about the Flutter architecture. If you are a Flutter developer, there is one question that you might have asked yourself at some point in your journey. How is Flutter able, or Flutter applications able to run on different platforms? You develop your code in one language, which is Dart, and then Android understands that code. iOS understands that code. Even web platforms understands that code. How is it able to work that way? And what is behind those magics? So that question has been answered in this episode in a very simple and concise way. Because of that, I will urge you to watch this video to the end. Now, the Flutter architecture. What is the Flutter architecture? Flutter itself, as we've discussed, is an SDK that is split into three important layers. These layers work with each other or work on their own to make your app successfully work or run on multiple platforms. You write your code in one language and then your platform is able to run it on different devices. So you write your code in the Dart language, and then different OS or different operating systems are able to understand that code and run it as if those are native codes. And that is a very big thanks to the three important layers in Flutter. 1. The framework layer, the engine layer, and the embedder layer. The framework layer is the layer where developers code. That is where we write our codes, our beautiful codes, our animations. Everything that we do happens on the framework layer or at the framework layer. That is where we communicate with the widgets, the layouts, and any other thing in Flutter. And that particular layer, even the framework layer, also have layers. It has the renderer, the widgets, the material, and the Cupertino libraries that has been developed by Google and iOS respectively. The renderer is where our commands or UIs are being shown on the screen and all those things. The widgets, as we know, we discussed in our previous episode. Those are the fundamental building blocks of everything we see on our screen. So from text to images to layouts are all widgets. And then the material icons or the material fields, designs for Android, Cupertino designs for iOS. Those things, all those complex, less simple things happen on the framework layer. The engine layer. The engine compiles the Dart code into native machine codes that are understood by the underlying platforms. So when we write the code, the engine converts those codes into codes that are understood by the underlying platforms. And the engine also performs the rasterization. Rasterization, if this is your first time hearing it, or if you've heard it before, it's just a simple term, alright? This term is a process that converts a command or converts codes into pixels or UI elements that we see on our screen. And rasterization occurs on the raster thread in Flutter. This also occurs by the help of the Flutter rendering engine, Skier and Impeller. We've talked about those engines in the previous episode, so if you don't know them or this is your first time hearing of them, you can go to the episode 1, the Flutter ecosystem, and then relate to those things. Next, Embedder layer. This layer coordinates with the host operating systems that can be Android, iOS, Windows, Mac OS, Web, or any other system to provide access to essential services like rendering surfaces, accessibility, and input events, which can be touch or keyboard. The embedder also integrates the Flutter engine into native application lifecycle. So that means you can also write your own embedder for any system or any operating system of your choice that will be able to help that system run Flutter applications. You can do it. We can do it. Yeah. Note that the embedder is written in the platform's native languages. That is Java or Kotlin for Android, C++ or Objective-C for iOS, and other systems as well. So, those are the three most important or the three layers that makes it possible for you to run your Flutter application on different operating systems. 1. The framework layer, where the developer performs the coding. 2. The engine, where Flutter have access to the core APIs of every system. And then 3. The embedder, where the Flutter engine is being integrated into the native platform's lifecycle. Those are the reasons why your app is able to run on multiple systems. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've understood the architecture of Flutter. This episode, combined with the previous one, the Flutter overview and its ecosystem, gives us the basic knowledge that we need to work effectively and efficiently in Flutter. In our next episode, we will be learning how to install the Flutter SDK, set up our IDE, which will be Android Studio, and run our first Flutter application. That will be the third episode or our next episode. I hope you subscribe. I hope you like this video, and I hope you put a comment. It can be a suggestion or it can be an appreciation for this episode. I'll see you in the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.